morning, everyone. Well, the fish are still asleep because I haven't given them food yet. So let's pop some food in this tank real quick because I'm clearly not awake either. Uh, Come on, little fishies. I know y'all want to eat. There they go. Well, not that y'all can see them because they're all up there. All right, let's get some pellets in there too for the little cichlids on the bottom. Whee! It's a food frenzy this morning. Three kinds of food. We got some pellets, we got some flakes, we got a little bit of everything for everyone. Oh, well, good morning, good morning. I am late this morning. So this may be a very short stream because I'm tired. I got maybe 3 hours of sleep. I was actually supposed to call Fisher and make sure he was awake this morning because I also kept him up last night. Morning, Liam. Good to see ya. Liam, I gotta get it out of the tank. But oh my goodness, my flagfish that I just got. I put them in the tank last week. There's babies in there. I don't know how. Like it says it takes 7 to 10 days for their eggs to hatch, and I found a little guy swimming in there last night. So of course, what do? I do the thing, I call Fish Nerd and I'm like, oh my God, we got babies. So yeah, that was kind of crazy. I was like, what are you doing there, little guy? All right, I'm back. I'm back. But yeah, this is the Apistos last day in here. We have flagfish babies. It was a crazy day yesterday. So the Apisto tank is they do. They do. Me and Fishner didn't think the flagfish were actually old enough to do that yet, but apparently, yeah, they are. Yeah, they are. And obviously, like I send Fishner pictures of the fish I have, and I really need to find something for comparison for them better to show their size because I think a little bit's getting lost in translation there on the pictures. Um, but yeah, I was really surprised. I go to drop some food in there last night, and all of a sudden there are these two little big eyes and these little bitty pin-shaped body, and I'm like, "You're a fish. You're not supposed to be in there yet. How did you get in there?" And I even thought I didn't move any of the mops from the rice fish into that tank. I also didn't. I moved plants out of that tank and put them in the rice fish's tank, but it didn't go the other way. So it's not a rice fish. And there haven't been fish in there since the Skiffia. I believe the Skiffia were the last fish I put in there. And then I decided to take everything out after the crash happened. You know what? No, I had some endlers in there and I took them out. But yeah, so that was a big surprise. So now I've got to try to get that guy out of there. I've got to finish the only thing I have left. Oh man, why is my internet being silly? Come on, internet. Don't do that to me. Okay, there we go. All right, so I just have a couple of things left to do for the tank on the, yeah, I've got to look for more, but I've got a couple of things to do left on the Apistos tank, and they're going to go in today. The most important thing is to find a heater. They like warm water. They're in a heated tank. I've got to get that tank warmed up. So after the stream, that's the first thing I'm doing. Grab the heater, get it in, and I'm going to siphon off half of the tank water that's already in there, and I'm going to put some of the tank water that they're in that tank. It'll kind of help with bacteria and cycling and stuff. So put some aged water in there and then get them ready to move this evening. So tomorrow morning we can see Mr. Jimmy Apisto's new home. And I've got to double check the rice fish tank and make sure there's not babies in there. Because if I have flagfish babies, I should have rice fish babies. Evening, Mippet. Aw, thank you, Liam. I'm glad you stayed up. I'm really glad to see you. Last night I did something stupid. I drank two coffees at like 10:30, and before I knew it, it was like 1 a.m. And I'm like, oh, damn, what am I doing? I should be asleep. I have to stream in a few hours. But yeah, I've noticed the last few days the Apistos are not very happy in here, mostly because of the plecos. Every time they build themselves a little hidey spot, the plecos find it, kick them out. Mrs. Apisto is ready for her home to go. And hopefully I can catch that little baby today. I'm really worried about that little guy. I mean, he survived the night, and obviously he survived a few days. So it is the Great Pleco Warren here. Stella, I'm kind of worried about. She's feisty. She's a spicy Pleco. So we're gonna see how her and Mr. Whiskers do together. And yeah, because they're both about the same size. Afraid to put her in with Inspector because he's a little smaller. He's not as bulky as her. So I'm afraid she might hurt him. She's a little aggressive. She flares a lot. He doesn't. She does. She is really yellow. And he keeps flashing his stripe and turning. I really kind of do have a Pleco department going on. But yeah, see, she's aggressive. She's very spicy. And she's not easy to catch. And I don't know if you can see the little tail wiggling under the driftwood. On the back side of the driftwood, I watched the Apisto, the boy Apisto, literally grab mouthfuls of sand and move it out and hollow him a little place. 2 hours I come back and Stella's in there. Stella's like, yeah, I like the spot. Thanks for digging me a hole. Yeah, they get spooked or they go after something, they can, and when they're chasing each other around a tank, it I was scared for Mrs. Whiskers a few times. I was thinking, we were gonna have to have some separation there. And since I did move her out of his tank, her fins have gotten um they peeled up. He was tearing her fins up really bad. So I was genuinely worried about her, even though they had a schedule going on how they were having babies. It just, he was being too rough on her. And there were a couple of times the kids literally saw him grab her and throw her in a tank in a cave. So like, you go in there now. And she, finally just got to where she was compliant with it. So She needed some separation. But yeah, she's and the boys are being definitely being boys here. Let's see if I can get them. Wee, there she is again. And yeah, and the Apistos have all of the plecos back on the other side of the tank. Yeah, she needed some her time, a nice chill, big tank with the guppies. I am surprised they haven't dug it up more. And I really think if it wasn't for the Apistos, it wouldn't still be there because they did dig up a couple of the little roots, but they've just kind of left it alone now. I still got to get that one cherry stem Ludwigia in the pot. That's gonna happen today because I'm putting a piece of it into the Apistos cave. Again, just it's gonna go be in a pot so I can move it out because it's gonna get too big. But I'm gonna put a pot of it in there to just grow and help with cycling bacteria, space. And I told the plecos since they were so mean, that's not a bad idea. They do need a counselor. Um, but yeah, I told the plecos since they undid all his hard work, I was gonna have to take a piece of their driftwood with the Anubias on it. I'm like, y'all were not nice to him, so he's taking one in the divorce, okay? When he moves out, he gets the small piece. So I'll replace it with a bigger piece. They'll be okay. Stella hasn't been happy about it since I told her. She's been, showing me her spikes, but she'll get over it. But yeah, my little girlfish she's over there guarding her little cave spot, so we're taking that one in the move. We're gonna take that cave. We're gonna take the driftwoods that Stella's by. Yeah, I'm taking your driftwood lady. And I'm taking a half a piece of their big plant and I maybe a couple of rotella clippings. Stella does need to pack her bags because she doesn't know it, but she's leaving. She had fun with the Reds, but now she's got to go meet Mr. Whiskers. Maybe he can, calm her down a little. And I honestly think it's really because she needs to drop those eggs. She's very chonky. She's full of eggs. She needs to release them. So we're gonna hopefully get that done this busy week. Busy week. And I've got to check my mops again. So yeah, rice fish mops. I've got one more water change to do, and then I have to get on Mr. Whiskers and the Sella move. The snails they won't come near this tank. As you can tell, we don't have very many. You know what? I only see three in here right now. What did you guys do? One, two. Okay, I see one on. Okay, there's one on a cave over here. I've got one on the Rotella, and I got one on the Ponagine. Where did the rest of the snails go? There were like 10 of them in here. Okay, there's one on the back wall. Okay. Half the snails are gone, so either they hauled ass out of the tank or the angels might have snapped on them. Someone might have snapped on them. Oops. I guess the little ones don't like it very much. Oh, okay. There's a few behind the. They're hiding. The snails are hiding. They don't like the violence. It's very clear. They're like, no, just say no. There's a lot of aggression in this tank right now. Yeah, and you know what? I think they were kind of afraid when I put Mrs. Whiskers in over on the other 29, because I do still have a few mystery snails over there. They were, you know, I think they were a little bit afraid because the last time Mr. Whiskers was there, he was playing soccer with them. So that was that wasn't ideal. Well, maybe they need to campaign for, a new police chief. Yeah, see Mr. Apistos over there, he's flaring up, he's showing his straight. It's just it's a there's a lot of acts of violence in this tank right now. I got two that are guarding the plant. The other three are like, we want to be on the other side of the tank. Stella's just throwing everyone around. It's it's a cichlid tank with plecos in it. That's exactly what this is. This is what you get. I don't know what that angel's looking at, but I think he wants to have a serious conversation with Mr. Red right there. He's like, "Can I tell you about what's going on in the world today?" And that other guy's like, "No." They do, and it's because of this dude over here. He is guarding that side of the tank. See, he's flaring up. He's telling them to stay away. That is actually the right side of the tank. They're very right-sided this morning. That guy over there is like, you see my spikes? They're sharp. And I have to get that one poor cave that's fallen over. I gotta right that guy. He's upside down, which means the plecos sleep in it upside down. They like the flat surface, so they're just like, whoop, upside down. I'm very slap happy this morning. I forgot to put the bar light back on the tank too, so we've got, that wavy effect going on from the where the water's getting shot in through the spray bar. You know, I haven't woken the rice fish up yet. Haven't turned on any lights yet. I did turn theirs off fairly early last night, so they've had about 6 hours of dark. Gonna let them sleep in until probably 10 in the morning today. But they probably already have eggs in there because it's kind of like every day at 6:30, like clockwork. Bam. It does, doesn't it? It's you know you get certain species of fish together, and it's very yeah. See, normally this shouldn't be a problem because angelfish like the top of the tank and Apistos like the bottom. But the problem is my bottom space is also shared by a bunch of plecos. And the plecos and the Apistos are both cave dwellers. So they're really jockeying for that cave space. If I had a couple more in there, I don't think it would be a problem. But right now, it is a problem. And I really don't want to mess with you know what? I'm not gonna clip that. The Rutella in the back has got a lot of biofilm on the bottom of it. I think I'm gonna leave that there. It is a lot like high school in here. You get, I think the plecos are like the little, athletes. They're in sports. Exactly. I keep telling them it's going to be okay. We're going to get you moved. So, yeah, I think once the Apistos are in their cave tomorrow morning, it's going to be a whole new experience for them. Then they just get to worry about fighting each other instead of ever. It's a whole new domestic situation over there. Um, I've been watching a lot of the videos on the breeders because I don't know anyone who's actually bred them, and I need to maybe ask around today on the club site about it. Someone obviously in the club is breeding Apistos because that's where I got them from. But the one thing they did say is like have retreats for them, a couple of caves, break the line of sight, that kind of thing. And I do notice when they're not happy with each other, he does tend to run away from her. So, yeah. And Stella's still looking for food. I should have dropped some green beans in there this morning, and I forgot to grab them out. Oh well, tonight will be green bean night. Everyone will be excited for that, especially the baby plecos. It used to be Saturday night, but our schedule's been a little off lately. Ooh, he just colored up real dark. I'm kind of worried about what he's doing over there. Uh, hmm. See if I can show y'all this, especially Nerd. He is he is staring Laney down a little. Got his fins up. He's yeah. It's like all of a sudden he's like this nice pale color, and then he gets this black streak, the red stripe in his top fin just goes all the way down, and he turns bright purple. She's like, "This is mine. This is mine. This spot's mine. I claim this rock because I sucked on it. I licked the rock, so it's mine." I believe you might be right, Liam. My biggest fear is that one morning I'm gonna wake up if I don't move the Apistos, and it's gonna be a bloodbath in here. And that is what we're trying not to have happen. I'm kind of wondering if she doesn't have eggs in there already. 'Cause she has not moved too far from that cave, like at all. She's not letting anyone get near there. Like she comes out for a minute and then she goes right back in. So kind of wondering what's going on there. I guess we'll find out when I try to move the cave later. So I will report back on that one. Yeah, it's only going to be like a 30-minute stream today because this coffee is not kicking in. You know, I kind of wonder that too, especially for catfish. You think they have, I know food is like a big one, green beans. Like they're all over those. Um, and I really think as soon as the Apistos are out of here, the Plecos are going to calm down a little bit. And once Stella's out, because there's not going to be a female that's ready to mate in there for the two boys to fight over until the little one gets a little bigger. See, he's like stalking everyone in that tank. The plants are doing awesome. I am really surprised. The last couple of times I've put plants anywhere, they've, you know, not done so great. My other 29 is an example of that. Nothing seems to be growing very fast in there. But the plants in this tank and my 10-gallon are just going wild. So I did learn I learned a lesson there with how I set tanks up. So, and I have to get root tabs in that to see if it's 100%, finish my scientific study on that. I did put root tabs by one plant and that plant grew. So now I want to get them in the rest of the areas of that tank. But my 10-gallon, I put root tabs in from the get-go, and that tank's doing great. I actually probably need to trim a couple of the pieces of rotella down. Yeah, or the dirt balls, because I really think so. When I planted my first 29, I used all aqua soil and capped that with dirt or with sand, not dirt. Capped it with sand, and it's just not the plants. There's no nutrients in it, so there's nothing for them to eat, and you have to wait for everything to like push its way down into the sand, and it's just happening real slowly. So yeah, this one when I planted it, I mixed it with topsoil, aqua soil, and I capped it with a thicker layer of sand. And this one's doing fine. I haven't put any root tabs in it at all. The only the cranium in the back in the pot that has mostly topsoil in it, and it's capped with sand. The problem where I made the mistake was with my 20-gallon. When I planted that one, I put Miracle Grow potting soil in it, and I didn't realize that had copper in it, and copper is toxic to fish. So, yes, don't use Miracle Grow in your tank unless you check it first. Why mine even had it in there, I don't know. Like it just seems, I don't know. I guess it's a common fertilizer. I just didn't know. So, yeah, I learned to check all my potting soil before I put it into a tank. And I knew copper was toxic to them, but the only thing I'd seen copper in was in liquid fertilizer. So I didn't think my soil would have it in it off of from the get-go. That was my mistake. Learn to read the ingredients of everything. Also, I hate to do it. Yeah, copper is real bad for invertebrates. That's why I couldn't keep shrimp in there. That's why all my snails started dying. Um, and I think at first, like there was so much copper in the tank that just it was like on steroids in there. That's why my that's honestly why my sword plant grew as big as it did was there was a lot of fertilizer. So and why I was having, the off gassing and everything. Just yeah, I've stopped using it altogether, and it was kind of my mistake when I asked. I'm not sure if it was one of the kids that went and got the soil for me, or if it was Mr. Mousey. It's probably one of the kids. I asked them to go get some soil for me, and it was an old bag that I had, and they just cut open the first bag they saw. Yep, great for flowers, bad for food. But yeah, they just didn't realize there is a difference between topsoil and potting soil. And, you can't just assume that everyone knows. So I didn't even realize until I saw the open bag, and the kids were like, "Yeah, that's what we used last time." And I was like, "Oh no!" So I really think it was the kids. It's been a while, and it's 6:46 in the morning. So yeah. And for some weird reason, I have a wild tomato plant growing on my deck. Don't know where that came from. Little fun fact here: it shot up like 3, 4 weeks ago. So it's like not even a month old. It's already like half as tall as me. Don't get that. Um, and it's got flowers on it. So I guess it's good. We still have warm weather. So I might actually get tomatoes this year. But yeah, don't even know how a tomato seed got in there or why it waited until, August to start growing. But it did. He's like a little shark in there. It's like he's about to go after Stella. It's like watching her. Like, get away from that cave, lady. Yeah, the way they're acting around that one cave right now and keeping everyone from over there, especially the plecos. Yeah, kind of worry about that, about there being something in that cave. Guess I'll get the kiddos to film me moving them later. This might be real interesting. Honestly, Squab, it started back in 2015. Okay, let's go on a how my whole plant thing got going. 2015, Mr. Mouse comes home and he's got two tomato plants. One of his coworkers gave him a planter box with two tomatoes in it, and he loved growing tomatoes. So we did it for 2015. We got more on 2016. 2017 had rolled around, and Mr. Mousey, um, he was going through some medical issues, and he had some issues with his legs, and he had to be real careful. Um, it ended up getting better. It took 2 years, but it got better. But he couldn't garden, and I knew he liked to grow the plants, so I started doing it. Didn't realize I could grow anything. Started tomatoes, cucumbers, lettuces. We had stuff everywhere, all over the porch, in the front yard. I grew corn in a tote to see if it could be done, and surprisingly, it can be. You just have to make sure you get at least 3 rows in there so that the corn fertilizes itself. Brian did have a good birthday. He ended up getting a really good deal on he got a Best Buy gift card, and then he found some stuff on clearance, and he ended up getting a couple of collector items for $2. So he was like, man, that's great. Like, with shipping, he paid $2 for it. So he had a really good birthday because that was a surprise. Then the post office lost it. Then they found it. So, it was full of ups and downs, lefts and rights. He got cake and we got ice cream. So there's cake and ice cream. And yeah, we just kind of chilled and watched movies all weekend. You know, and then there was the sand disaster, and yeah, I found the glitter of the aquarium world. I mean, it's like the best excuse for cake ever is a good birthday. Is a birthday. It's like, you got a birthday, you're definitely getting cake. Next year, I am going to make him a German chocolate cake from scratch. Talk to my sister. I now know my mom's recipe for it. He hasn't had it in years, so I'm gonna actually bake him one, and hopefully I don't burn it because I haven't baked anything in years. I used to be like a Betty Crocker too, and bake cookies for the kids, cookies, cakes, bread, the whole 9 yards. Haven't done that in a while, so yeah. I figured maybe Christmas time get a bunch of like fish and sea creature shaped cookie cutters and make some aquatic themed cookies. Well, let me try the German chocolate cake first, and then we'll go from there. Well, y'all, I am gonna go ahead. I know I was late this morning, and it's only been like a 36-minute stream, but I've got to go get these plants planted and find a heater. Most importantly, I have one that's small enough for a 10-gallon that I have to find and get in that tank so I can get these little dudes moved, and then find a way to get mystery fish out of my tank. And my internet's being silly again. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up for this morning, and I will be back tomorrow morning, hopefully with the Apistos in their new home, and we shall see how that goes. And yeah, I hope everyone has a good day. If you see a fish, give it a hug, put it back in the water when you're done. All right, bye, y'all. Oh, also, good night or good morning, depending on where you're at. Have a wonderful day. Bye, y'all.